So you've forgiven each other. You've said the words, you've cleared the air, and you moved on. And mostly you have. You have moved on. Except, except every now and then something happens, just a tone of voice or a forgotten commitment or a moment that rhymes with an old wound. And suddenly you're not in the here and now, you're somewhere between then and now, feeling something that was supposed to be over. If that's happened to you, I want you to listen up. That doesn't mean you didn't really forgive them. I'm Coach Shaun. This is week 9 of the marriage we're building now. And this week we're talking about forgiveness, and especially forgiveness for the long stretch. Colossians 3:13 says this, "Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you." So, two phrases that really stand out to me. Notice the phrase, bear with each other. So, that's not a single act, that's an ongoing posture. That's an ongoing choice of attitude, a way of carrying one another day after day, including the days when it's difficult, when it is hard. And the other one is forgive one another if you have a grievance against each other, or in this case, against someone. Because the Lord forgave you, you should forgive. Forgiveness in a long marriage is not a single event. It's a long practice. It's a long action. It's something that's a repeated return to a decision you've already made, and maybe sometimes many times. There's a common misunderstanding about forgiveness that often can do real damage in a long marriage. The idea is that if you've truly forgiven, you won't feel it anymore. Well, that's not how it actually works. Real forgiveness doesn't erase the memory of it or eliminate the wound. It removes the debt. It says, I'm not going to keep this score against you, and I'm not going to hold this against you anymore. But the memory obviously is still there, and sometimes the memory can still hurt. So the question isn't whether you'll feel the old pain again. You will. The question is, what will you do with it when you do feel it again? In a long marriage, forgiveness is a posture more than a moment. It's the ongoing orientation of your heart towards your spouse that says, I have chosen to release this. And when I feel it again, I will release it again and again and again and again. And we know Jesus said, Peter asked Jesus, how many times must I forgive? And he said, must I forgive 7 times? And he said, 70 times 7. So having to release it again is not, it's not a weakness. It's not about being a doormat. It's not pretending it didn't happen or that the wound wasn't real. It's the hardest, most deliberate kind of love there is. So one more thing worth naming clearly, because this is important. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciling with behavior that is ongoing, a behavior that's still happening now. If something is still being done to you now, forgiving the past doesn't mean accepting the present. Real forgiveness and real accountability can and should exist at the same time. But for most couples, the wounds that need ongoing forgiveness aren't active situations ongoing right now. Mostly it's historical. The thing that did happen, the season that did cost you, the years that were hard in ways that you didn't fully recover from. The smaller accumulated failures that leave their mark, those need the long, slow, daily releasing. Not a moment, not a moment, but a practice. Not a feeling, a decision that you repeat quietly and without fanfare as many times as it takes, which in a long marriage may be quite a few times. So, for this week, this is what I'd like to invite you to do. Identify one thing that you've forgiven, but you still feel. Write it down, not to share with your spouse, but just for yourself. Then write this underneath it: I choose to release this again today. Pray over it if you must and if you're able. This is the forgiveness practice, returning to the same decision until it no longer needs to be made. You're not failing at forgiveness because you have a feeling that comes back. You're practicing it the same way you practice anything that matters again and again until it becomes who you are. I'm Coach Shaun. The book, The Marriage We're Building Now, is in the description. And I will see you next week for week 10's devotion.